politics. The clamor for lifting the age limit is now being orchestrated by NRM MPs. However, the president promised not to serve beyond 75. Is it a change of heart because power corrupts, or is it popular demand? On the spotlight is a law scholar, Professor John Badia, the Minister of State for Planning, David Bahati, Dokolo South MP, Felix Okoto Gong, and Dennis Twahika, a youth activist. Gentlemen, you're most welcome. I should say the spotlight of the nation is on you tonight, and what we're going to discuss is, in my view, very explosive. Let me begin with you, Honorable David Bahati, and I'm going to begin with a quote from President Yoweri Museveni during the OAU meeting in Addis Ababa in 1986, when he said that the problem afflicting Africa was leaders who overstay in power. What the NRM party did a few days ago, it's as if they want him to stay longer. But let me not even try to guess. Do you want the president to stay longer beyond 75?
Thank you very much. I think the context of this debate should be put in the right place. But first of all, we are glad that we are here and everywhere in the country discussing issues that affect our destiny with freedom, and nobody will touch you if you have a different view or if you are doing something. What happened on Tuesday is that a member of parliament, together with other members of parliament, are discussing issues to do with the destiny of this country and the destiny of Africa, not necessarily the destiny of any one person in Uganda. And the member of parliament is given the mandate by the constitution that we made to make any law regarding the development of the country and the governance of this nation. And what the member of parliament, Honorable Majezi, and his colleagues are arguing, they're arguing about issues to do with the Supreme Court judgment that made some recommendations. Namely, they were looking at issues to do with if an election is annulled, can you really organize an election in 20 days? That's what the member is asking. They're also talking about issues to do with rigidities within our own constitution. Is it right for a youth who is 34 years not stand for the chairperson of a district, when actually a youth in the parliament who is 28 years is a minister overlooking a whole ministry? Is there any scientific evidence to prove that if you go beyond 75 years, you go home, you are no longer useful? Those are issues that members of parliament are making an argument for which we really associate.
You are chairman of the party. Actually said it is scientific. At 75, in his view, in fact, he even gave wise counsel. In his view, if you wanted good leaders, it's better to look below 75. But that aside, why would you leave the most important things afflicting the country right now? We have a jobless generation. We have an economy that has issues. We have other things to contend with, and go to something that seems to be periphery.
Well, if you think that the leadership of the nation is peripheral, then you are really misplaced. The leadership of the country is very, very important and must be debated by the people who are mandated to debate it. There are ways of how you can change a constitution. It is put in the constitution. If you want to change a constitution, there are ways that require referendum. There are clauses that require district council resolutions. There are clauses that require parliament, and this one they're talking about, among other things, is one of them. And it is important that we debate issues that come with civility, with calmness. You should not fear to legislate, or should you legislate from fear? Okay. So I don't think that members of parliament, I don't think that members of parliament...
Let me bring in Honorable Felix Okoto Gong here, because he belongs to the same party. He's in the 10th parliament. I wonder if you even attended, but I just want to get your mind on this whole issue of what your colleagues decided to go with the day they met.
Fellow viewers, when we were sworn in parliament, we took an oath to protect the constitution and also to preserve the Constitution. And when you look at Article of the Constitution 79, it is here, it states clearly, 79.3, that Parliament shall protect this Constitution and promote the democratic governance of Uganda. And I agree with him that the position of the president is very important because it guides the future and aspiration of a nation. But I wonder, something that has been put in the Constitution that has not been tested, because this article has never been tested, that has not been tested. And we have not seen the disadvantages or advantages. But now members prompting themselves when they are elected, you know, when you're a member of parliament, you're elected by the people. And power belongs to them. You are given that power, but that power you should not misuse it in a parliament. And therefore, I agree with him when he states that we should remove the rigidities. I think if we are removing the rigidities, you call Article 102B a rigidity. When you look at when you go to court, the judges, the Chief Justice, the age is at 70. Isn't that a rigidity? When you look at the judges, it's at 65. Isn't that a rigidity? Why don't we also do away with that one? Because they are all human beings. They are all leading the branches of government. Because we have three branches. We have the executive, and also parliament, and the judiciary. And they have capped the ages. And I wonder why we are only focusing on that one of the president. And we are saying it is discriminatory. We are saying it is rigid. I think this does not justify what the Honorable Minister is saying. So I think what is happening, Honorable Minister, is because there are people who want to do mob justice on the Constitution. There are people who want for personal aggrandizement or personal interest. Because if we focus at the interest of the country, we know General Yoweri Museveni, and I always say I respect him so much because he has done so much. But the Constitution has capped his age, his advancement at 75. And he made it very abundantly clear that that day I said, I looked at his eyes also, because I saw it blinking and he was blinking too much. I said, this statement is not coming from the heart. It is coming from something. That's certainly not me. I will not contest beyond 75. Certainly not me. But I wonder today, that same person is saying, I think the doctor...
But anyway, is it him who is saying that, or it is the members of parliament, Professor, who perhaps also have their own interest, because they think if President Museveni is not at play, perhaps they themselves politically, they are doomed. And they could be actually pushing their interest by fronting the president, who, by the way, has not been very categorical up to now to say, I want to stand again.
Well, I think in order to understand what is happening, we need to look at the drawing of the Constitution in 1995. What has happened to that Constitution in order to understand the context of this proposal? When the 1995 Constitution was made, most of the issues were agreed. There were only a few not agreed issues. That was federalism, which was being demanded by Uganda, and multi-party politics. When at that time, NRM was declared to be a movement system. The rest of the issues were agreed. There was no contention. 2-term limits for the president of 5 years each. The age framework between 35 and 75. All these were agreed. However, from around 2003, there was an attempt to change these agreed positions. And I think this is part of the problem of this country. when it was agreed that a president should run for not more than 2 terms, when the age limit was fixed, there were very good reasons for this. And nothing has changed. So my view is that we should not even look at the intentions of the members of parliament. In a way, they don't matter. Whether they are looking for money, whether they believe that by taking this move, they will be ingratiated to the president and therefore he'll give them support. But all this may be useless because we know that the attrition rate of members of parliament is above 60–70%. So because of the nature and character of the political system that we have, where a member of parliament thinks that he or she should become government to bring development to the constituency, to do everything for the constituency, and because actually you can't do it, the measure for you to return to parliament is too high. And therefore, irrespective of what they do about this particular issue, they are not likely to return because of the nature of the political system. So my point would be that even if they looked at their own selfish interests in order to change this provision in the Constitution, they will not benefit much. I would therefore advise them that they leave the Constitution as it is. The president would be in power for 35 years, okay? And surely, if by the end of 35 years, he has not done everything that he wants to do, how will he be able to do it when he's 80 or 90? It is illogical for anybody to think that beyond 35 years, you can actually create new ideas useful for the country. I think that's the context in which we should look at this proposal. It is not good for this country. The members of parliament will not benefit from it. Or if they do, the benefit will be so minimal compared to the danger of mutilating the Constitution.
And it is the view, I suppose, the president told this very program, that after 75, you actually, scientifically, biologically, you have also more or less, you outlived your usefulness. He even gave wise counsel if it were him. And the leaders you want for this country would be those below 75. But let me come to you, Dennis Twahika, because I suppose on this table you are the youngest. And so there's a lot at stake also for the young people of Uganda. The exponents of the removal of the age limit claim, it is anchored on popular demand. Do you agree?
Not at all. But thank you very much, Mr. Kamara and NTV for this program. But when my senior brother, Honorable Minister, was deliberating, I looked at his face and I imagined if President Museveni, I know, was a member of parliament and Honorable Bahat was a president and having served for over 30 years. Now Honorable Bahat wants to change the constitution. I imagine whether President Museveni an MP I know would have allowed this to happen. If he could go to the bush when he had only one seat and interpreted that one to mean malpractice and the collapse of the politics of the country, and indeed he went to the bush and he got support and won the war and came here and became a president. If that one could take him to the bush, just one seat, and DP, which had very many votes, maybe didn't go, I don't know. Do you think President Museveni, the one I know, and at that time, the patriotic President Museveni, if he was in parliament, that is Honorable Bahat, would he be talking like Honorable Bahat? I doubt that. So on that note, maybe there is a problem today, either with me or with the Bahatis. But in life, we strive to win. We struggle. After we have won, we prepare to lose. It is in that prepared loss that preserves our win. Whoever wants in life to win at whatever cost is the devil. Me, my model, I'm a Christian, is Jesus Christ. At 32, 33, he had accomplished his mission. His name is everywhere. So, to me, I belong to the national resistance movement. Even when I was in Makerere, when I was in these universities, I mobilized the youth. But I got disappointed from Chankwanzi. And I think I remember I came here on this great TV and made a statement that what took place in Chankwanzi by the same Bahatis was a coup against NRM and its constitution. Me, I could not hold it. I joined the opposition, Mr. Kamara.
Honorable David Bahati,
yes,
you
yes.
represent the people of Undorwa. Is this what they are telling you to do? And
I think first of all, we need to put this in context.
yes,
I told in the beginning that this very constitution Felix Okoto Gong is referring to gives a member of parliament to move a private member's bill. That you cannot stop. It is given by the constitution. Before Professor said President Museveni has ruled for 35 years and all that, the constitution caters for that. Article 1 says the power belongs to the people. Whether you are 35, whether you have ruled for 40, whether you have ruled for one term, the people of Uganda will decide the person they want to lead them. That's no problem. Now the issue at hand is that a member of parliament, Honorable Majezi, yesterday but one when he called us and other leaders, said, I have ideas here. The Supreme Court made a recommendation that we should make amendments to the presidential elections in the first 2 years. And he says it's important we listen to the judiciary because an important arm of government. One of the things they said, if you want to petition elections, the 10 days that the Constitution provides are really very few days to gather all evidence. And he wants to look at that one. He says the 20 days to do a rerun in the case of what happened in Kenya is just a short time. And he says, if for example, for sure you are talking about a population of 78% being young people from the ages of 18 to 35, why should you have rigidities to stop a young person from running as a chairperson of LC3 or LC5? He says, let's look at this. That's the reason why we made this constitution, that it is dynamic, it gives us an opportunity to change it. So it is not that you cannot say that has not been tested. Young people have been blocked by the same constitution from running as chairpersons of the districts. You imagine somebody who is 34 years to say you cannot run a district. But at the same time, a member of parliament who is 28 comes and is given a ministry, he can run a whole ministry. The same constitution has some little bit of contradictions. Now it says, if president is not there, a vice president not there, the speaker who is third in command takes over. But the same constitution says, president and vice president, you can only go for 75. For the speaker, you can have a situation where you have a speaker who is above 75 and the two are not there. What happens? So the same constitution knew that there could be some contradiction. It knew that there could be some need to change it, and that's why it provided for it. And once this comes on the table, we debate it. We don't blackmail people that look at this one, look at that. No, put the arguments on the table. That's what the member says. If you have good arguments, members of parliament will listen to them.
Professor,
if you don't have them, they will not listen to them.
If this is limited, who is the first direct beneficiary of amending the constitution, Article 102?
Thank you very much. I'll answer that. But before I answer that one, let me answer him. I have here their Mama Mbaba's petition judgment. Okay? And the claim is that government has delayed to bring the necessary amendments within 2 years as directed by the court.
Among them, not all of them. Because some of them were not out of that.
Let me make my argument. There were 10 recommendations and they are here. Okay? And those recommendations arose from the petition itself. Some of them you have mentioned them. Age limit was not one of them. Okay? That is very clear. So we cannot use the Mama Mbabazi judgment to support the removal of age limit. That's number one. Point number two, these small things you are bringing about
The young people.
young
Young
people
people.
not standing for LC5.
Now they want babies to be LC5.
But who has complained? Because Rafael Magezi, my good classmate, by the way, in the seminary, and I didn't expect him to do this because he's supposed to be a man of integrity. He should not be part of this attempt to mutilate the Constitution. So the judgment cannot help you. The young people have not come up to say that we want to be presidents. That's the least of their concern. What they want are jobs. In any case, the presidency is one job.
Yeah.
If you talk about LC5, even then, or even other positions, they are not very critical. But the presidency is very important. Therefore, if you want to say, we would like President Museveni to rule for life, you bring it and say so. But don't say, a young man of 34 years wants to become an LC5 chairman as the reason for tabling the bill. There are so many things in our laws which may need change, which may need reform. But those can be done anytime. The issue of changing the age of 75 years for the president can only benefit President Museveni. Okay? Because I've not heard of people of 80 years, I've not heard of any that has sought to contest the presidency in this country. And therefore you are saying, there are some people of 80 in Eteso, another one of 76 in Kabare or Ndorwa, they would like to be presidents.
So why would you worry?
They are not, in other words, we cannot change a constitution because of one man. Okay? In fact, today, when we were installing our vice chancellor, Professor Nawangwe, President Museveni was there, and the chairperson of the search committee, Honorable Ovonji Odida, made a very good statement and praised Professor John Dumba Sentamu for leading for one term. He was free to lead for another term, and she advised that no single individual, whether in Makerere, in any other institution, even in Uganda, is bigger than institutions or is bigger than the nation. And the president was listening, and everybody actually clapped. So my understanding was that it is really not acceptable for one person to think that without him, this nation cannot prosper. In fact, when you don't create room for new leadership, even within the NRM party itself, that is bad for the country. Okay? So my view is that instead of wasting time in amending this constitution,
And still with you,
we should think of other things.
And still with you, Professor
Yes, yes.
The NRM party is a big party.
Yes.
And no one in this country can get into the presidency without getting the support of the NRM. Because they have been around, they have the numbers.
As of now.
As of now, yes.
Yes.
You have to at least to recruit from them to be able to make it. Do you see anybody in that NRM party who can hold the party together and move on, as you see today? Do they have a choice?
That is a wrong question. I don't have to see anybody. This should be through a democratic process. It should be through an institutional process in which you nurture leaders. So leaders don't simply come up. They have to be...
Have leaders been nurtured?
They have to be tested. They have to be given an opportunity. And we have not given them that opportunity. So who am I to say that it should be Ruhakana Rugunda or Honorable Bahati? That can only be determined through experience. You go through this process. There's no way you can theoretically declare that they are or they are no leaders in a particular party, unless you go through the test like FDC at least tries to do, you see. But in NRM, by the way, you are not even allowed to contest for the chairmanship of the party. It is fixed.
No, that's not true.
It is fixed.
Felix Okotogong did.
Was he voted?
He's here.
Was he voted?
No, contesting is
No,
different from
there was
being
no
voted.
contesting.
No, he's here, he can tell you. He did.
When he can tell us he's here.
Yeah, you
Yes.
see,
Yes.
I did.
Yeah.
Because personally, I had a feeling that we need to deepen democracy within the movement. But the process that I went through was not very democratic. Because in our constitution, it is the Central Executive Committee that should recommend to the delegate conference. So when we were two with my other opponent, competitor, so I was actually persuaded seriously that this is now our chairman, this is our elder, this is now our everything. How would it look for you to contest against our chairman? But I gave them 10 points, and which was very, very researched. Then all members of SEC said, Okotogong should not step down from here. We should not allow. Let these points be said in the delegate conference. But since those points were very, very researched, it was going to open up a lot of issues when I raised it in the delegates conference. But I got the opportunity, because even in SEC, our chairman said, no, since I'm also an interested party, let me also withdraw so that you people can discuss me and my friend Okotogong. I was given that opportunity. But my issue was the process. And how the people now, they felt, I think I was doing a criminal, it was abominable for Okotogong, a young man, to contest. But my issue, even if I had got only one vote, was to start the process of democratization within the party, so that positions are open from down to top, and also to create hope to Ugandans that we can rise from down to up and deepen democracy within our
No, but Felix, you know, if you belong to a certain party, then you must abide by the rules
Yes,
of the
yes,
party.
of course.
So if we know that the SEC has to have an input on who stands
Yeah,
the
that's
candidate,
true. That's true.
so you cannot come out and then say it was undemocratic when actually
No,
you
I didn't say
subscribe
it was
to it.
undemocratic. I said the process.
It's unfair.
It was really, really not
No,
very
that
fair.
one you deal with it in the party.
Yeah,
You
okay.
cannot say come and yeah.
Gentlemen, we are going to take a break. When we come back, let's continue with this discussion.
Pregnancy means different things to different people. What would a pregnancy mean to you now?
In my situation? No. That's why I use a coil. What about you? Jeez, I am not ready. That's why I use pills.
We can't wait.
We are ready to have a baby.
Man, I can't feed another child, so I support my wife to use implants.
What would another pregnancy mean to you now?
My land got finished. That's why I even got a vasectomy.
Trouble. My parents would kill me, that's why I'm abstaining from sex.
I cannot even afford airtime. So, I use condoms.
To prevent unplanned pregnancy, visit a health center to find an option that works for you.
Tomorrow night.
Andrade, please don't be so gullible. I'm asking about who his actual boss is. Here, nothing is what it appears, and it seems no one is who they say they are.
Listen, that chauffeur is an ex-policeman. They say he's very close to Mr. Wong. They say. causing commotion. It is standing your attention. And the flood in my mansion. Oh baby girl, this you me coming at the place, me undertaker. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Tomorrow night.
Don't miss this week's episode of the new Coke Studio Africa. The legendary Baby Cool from Uganda collaborates with the multi-talented Falz from Nigeria to create an amazing original hit. And Kenyan supergroup Sauti Soul joins Nigeria's fabulous Chidima to support this week's big break artist. Coke Studio Africa 2017. This is where music meets.
Are you in need of being refreshed, beautified and renewed? Come to Sparkle Salon and be pampered by our team of experienced staff that will leave you feeling rejuvenated. At all Sparkle Salons, we offer professional barber, hairdressing, nails, beauty and wedding services to a cosmopolitan clientele in a comfortable environment using proven products at affordable prices. Just walk into our outlets and you'll be instantly attended to. Our salons are located in major shopping malls with safe, ample parking space for your comfort. At Lugogo Mall, Garden City, Forest Mall, Oasis Mall and Acacia Mall. Sparkle Saloon. Professional, affordable and quality services.
Welcome back. Watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara and my guests tonight are Honorable David Bahati, Mr. Dennis Twahika, Honorable Felix Okotogong, and Professor John Barrier. And if I may begin with you, Mr. Twahika, because according to Honorable Bahati, you know, they are concerned about the demographics of Uganda indicate that the majority of the people are young, so they want to legislate so that you too can have a stake in the leadership of the country or even the leadership of the district. So you should be happy that they are thinking about the young people, where you fall.
You see, when leadership turns into dealership, then the room for common sense disappears. And when you speak with anger, you can be conceived to be indisciplined. It is real, it beats my common sense. It is not actually after the youth. It's not all about the youth. It's not. This is something that is intended to entrench life presidency. And they are ready to do it at whatever cost. And I think today, my good friend Evelyn Anite summed it up when she said that they even have the army on their side. So those who are opposed to it should be prepared to face the army. So you can really see that there is nothing other than just concerning about an individual. It's nothing actually. You see, when you distort reality, hiding behind the law, that's why me, my brother, my senior brother and the lecturer, Professor Barrier, and my brother Okotogong, you can see they are trying to bring out sense, thinking that the people they are trying to address are sensible. But I'm not saying that they are not. This is exactly when you are trying to it's like when you are pleading with someone who has come to take something by all means. For you are out, you are inside, someone is outside. So you are pleading, but he is already, if you don't open, he's going to break the door. So to me, I am really short of words as a young person, and I'm being betrayed by my senior brother, Honorable Bahat and group. But I urge you, my brother Bahat and the group, and of course Magezi, because I come from Bushenyi district, near Magezi's constituency, is a brother also. I beg kindly, and I want to tell you, this one is not about President Museveni. It is not about hating President Museveni, and it's not about loving President Museveni. It is about Uganda. And I think it's the problem of Uganda has never been economical. I've actually been telling people, if it was economical, President Museveni and his group would have picked hoes and tractors and went to those mechanizable areas and practiced agriculture. But the fact that they picked guns and went to Ruwero, our problem has been political. So the Constitution has tried to fix these politics, and I think these 75 years and the term limits actually were the checks. So I beg kindly that we leave this as it is, and we have our president. For the first time in the history of this country, we witness a smooth and orderly transfer of power from our liberator, President Museveni, to a Bahati or to Honorable Koto Gongo or anybody. Then our country will have started on a new path. But denying us that, all in the name of talking about discrimination and that, will be a very big disservice, and it will make us interpret this NRM as something different from a liberation struggle.
So, Honorable, when you hear such a young man telling you, begging and telling you and pleading with you, and showing you if it was President Museveni at this time and maybe you have switched positions, he would be opposed by anybody touching the Constitution now. What do you tell the likes of him and others?
No, I would encourage him really to bring arguments, not just blackmail, on the table, because you know you don't change a law, make a law by just saying anything you want. You have got to make a proposal, support the proposal. If you have a counter proposal, you put a counter proposal. You see, nobody has talked about President Museveni in this debate. I didn't hear it when the member was moving. The member is specifically making proposals to the House and is working according to the rules of the House. He will have to seek leave of the House when he's ready. He will have to go through his party members, and then they will make a decision. And this will be a civil debate. So if you have opposition, for example, to why you should not allow a young person of 34 to compete for the chairmanship of a district, if you have reasons why a 75-year-old who cannot lead Uganda, while actually an economy like America, which is 100 times our economy, is being led is in the hands of a 70-year-old person, then you bring them up here. You bring them up here. But you see, the same Constitution gives a member of Parliament to legislate on any law, on any matter for development of good governance of the country. This is the same Constitution. So it's important that we bring ideas, debate them. If they are superior to those, they will be carried. And above all, the most important check that we have in this country and this Constitution is Article 1. The power belongs to the people. Whether you are 34, whether you are 35, every 5 years you have got to go back and you are checked.
Which people?
The people of Uganda.
Honorable Felix Okotogong, when you meet in meetings like these, do you meet with, do you get a green light from your chairman?
Which meeting?
That was not a caucus, was members of parliament.
You see, there is a problem. And I think I want to urge my brother to agree with me. That a meeting that was organized in parliament, consisting of members of the executive ministers, complaining like any other, that we have failed to bring, you see, it's government now saying, we have failed to bring a bill to parliament. Can you members bring it? Ministers, that's a vote of no confidence. Because how do you say that?
The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should be able to do that.
To do that. The minister should have gone to the president, to cabinet, that we need to bring this. But you don't come to members, prompt them that you please bring, because we have failed. That one you are indicting your chairman, that actually our chairman has failed to superintend of a very important matter of the Constitution. Secondly, a matter of this magnitude, of the president, level of presidency, and we read our Constitution. When you read this Constitution, and now we refer to the president, fountain of honor, commander-in-chief, everything. And now you say a member can bring a private member's bill. I think this is bringing down the spirit behind this constitution.
No, but you read 94.
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's common sense.
Judgment it is also given in the
constitution. Yeah, it is given, but I'm saying the common sense. Because most of our provisions in the constitution, remember when we were amending articles, it was, first of all, there was a Constitutional Review Commission that gathered views all over the country, getting the opinion of the general public about the constitution, issues in the constitution. Recommendations were made to government, to the executive. It was discussed, and a white paper was presented to Parliament. And from that white paper, a bill was drawn. That is now basing on the opinion of the general public. Okay. And I want to appeal to my friend. I think I need to say this, that I don't support the amendment, but I think we need to be organized. We don't need to do things in an ugly way that exposes members. Because now, the general public now think, why is it happening like this? Maybe members have got something. And indeed, they may not have got money. I know. But now the general public, one member told me that they're already ringing me, that you bring that money down here and we what? And indeed, I know that money is not given.
No, but
the opinion, this is what I'm saying.
But Felix,
but the opinion is biased, and which is unfair to members of Parliament.
I think
which is very unfair to members of Parliament.
This argument about saying that this is in the constitution or in the law, let's deal with that issue. Yeah. The fact is that whether a provision is in the constitution or any other law does not mean that it is even good. So quoting the law in and of itself is not enough. I think the spirit behind the law and the purpose of the law is what is more important. Yeah. We had apartheid. It was legal. Okay? And the leaders of apartheid would say, we are following the law.
That was the law.
Yes, that was the law. We have had elections in many countries in which presidents get 98% of the vote, at times 100, 95. But when an opportunity arises, you realize that that 98 or 100% was fake. But it would have been legally, constitutionally elected.
So what are you saying about the provision that allows a member to move a law?
It is not only that.
Yes.
I'm saying any provision in the constitution. I know that that provision is there. But for what purpose are you using that provision? That's the point I'm making. It is the purpose and intention that is important, not the legalistic procedure. You see, because you can use the procedure to do something bad, not so, but using the law. But you can also use the law to do something good. The point I'm making is this. I'm not saying it's not in the Constitution. I'm saying that it is wrong for a member of Parliament and others to bring a proposal to change this particular part of the Constitution when the spirit behind that provision made in 1995 was that we should have some minimum checks and balances on the president. That is the whole thing. Now, when you sabotage that spirit, that is what we question. And we are saying that it is not enough for you to say what I'm doing is lawful. What you should answer is this good for the country? That's the point I'm making.
Go for it, David.
Well, I don't get the point of the professor, because first of all, there are good points why the member is moving. He has made very good points. For example, one of the things that he's talking about is that this constitution, rather this provision that of rigidities of age, is discriminatory. You know, it discriminates people who are above 75. That is there. It is the only country in the whole world that has an age limit.
So why was it put there in 1995? What was the reason?
You can talk about why it was put there.
And what has changed?
The constitution says it's a constitution is dynamic. This particular constitution,
when you removed the term limits, it benefited
this particular provision.
When you remove the age limit, it's most likely going also to benefit the same person.
It's who?
When you remove the term limit, it benefited President Museveni. Now, when you remove the age limit, it will benefit him again.
So is it a constitution for one person?
According to the information that we have now, what the members are talking about, Museveni is not being talked about in these arguments.
But why don't you be honest?
You see, about in these arguments.
Mr. Kamara.
Yeah,
I think this debate, this debate cannot be pro forma.
No,
it must have substance.
No. Okay,
it must have substance.
Yeah,
so don't tell us that this is not for President Museveni.
Yes,
when you know very well, it is for him. I mean, people there are watching you.
Probably you know, I don't know.
People there are watching you. So don't think that people can't think for themselves. Really?
No,
I think let's debate substance and not formalities.
So, Professor, what the substance you are debating, apart from saying that this is wrong to move, a private member has moved a proposal. And we are saying if you have contrary views to it, contrary views meaning why should a person below 35 cannot occupy a position of leadership? Why should a person of 75 not occupy a position of leadership?
Let me.
That is a substance.
Can I ask you?
Yes.
I told you in this same constitution under judiciary, they also capped the age of the judges.
Yes.
And the Chief Justice. So is that discriminatory? Is that restrictive or not?
No, for example, for Okotogo, you have been in Parliament longer.
But
than,
listen, because you have realized
you have been. No, listen.
And now it should be open.
No,
why don't you open for judges also?
Listen,
why don't you open for?
Listen, listen. For example, you have been in Parliament longer than I have.
Yes, of course.
If a member brings a proposal, and you have that proposal about judges, you can also bring it.
But now this is what I'm telling you.
Why don't you bring it if you think so?
Mr. Twahika,
yes.
A record that they have is that whenever they want something, the NRM party, because they have the numbers and sometimes they have the money, all the time they have the money, they always get what they want. So for you, the activists who are opposed to this, what's
By the way, Mr. Kamara, I must say that it's an insult when you talk about money. The other day, some people said, you know, we are sort of getting used to this. The other day, some people said, when we were in Chankwanzi, that they went to Chankwanzi and they roasted meat and did this. Really?
It's a presidential election.
It's an insult to
an
talk about.
Election is about money in Uganda.
It's an insult to say that the party has money, has numbers.
Don't you support your members of parliament don't you support your members of parliament who are going to campaign?
Meaning that
giving them money to go and campaign.
No, meaning members of parliament can do something wrong because of money.
Listen. Money is used for logistic purposes. Money is used for mobilization.
Okay, in that context is okay.
That is the context I'm bringing, Honorable.
Okay, that's the one I wanted to clarify so that you don't.
No, it's because you had your own idea in your own mind. That is the context I'm saying, if you want to be clear. Whenever they want something, they have the numbers, they have the means, they always get it. You are opposed. What is your strategy to survive this?
But I think, I still believe that President Museveni will make a statement in respect to this. Because he is the only person now who should give Uganda this transition. And I think, I suspect, in my view, much as his name is being dragged here and there, I think before, maybe I wish, let me not think now, let me wish that before this month ends, he should address the country and tell this country that these people who want to change this constitution are misguided, but he has already called them idlers. So I think but the point here is things have changed. Things have changed. And I want to tell you, Mr. Kamara, that I am proud of these members some members of parliament, of this 10th parliament, especially members of NRM. There are gallant sons and daughters who are saying no. Then there are members of opposition, and I know even Bahat inside him, he doesn't support it. Inside, in his heart, I'm not recommending because we have been saying that. That's why I'm not quoting the Constitution. As we talk now, the Constitution, it's as if even if I cry, it's as if the kite is targeting the cheek, it has to take it. So I think the determination of the kite is that cheek must die. And then I don't think my crying, my opening books, my saying, you see, here we did this. No, he's not interested. This thing must be devoured. That is the determination. Because I saw how this meeting was organized and how the Chankwad thing came up. And
Which one?
No, wait, my brother Bahat, my senior brother. So my appeal to you is this. And I think you are right, you're not to succeed, because I think Ugandans really feel that this is the time for a smooth transition. So if you really destroyed your party constitution with impunity, please save our constitution.
Okay, Professor, Felix.
I want to say, because I'm an NRM person, first of all, the decision of some members is not the decision of NRM. Because in NRM, we have our ways of generating decisions. It starts from down at the sub-county, it comes to the district conferences, it comes to NEC, and it comes to SEC. Then when SEC has really cleared the decision, it is brought to the caucus. If there is an amendment, that should come to Parliament. So what we are talking about now is not the decision of NRM. It is just idea of some members of Parliament.
They are part of the members of the party organ.
Of the party organ. But it's not the decision of the party organ. That one must be clear. So whatever I'm saying here, I'm not conflicting with my party. Because my party has not made any decision about lifting the term limit. There is no decision of our party, age limit. There is no decision of my party. So I'm not conflicting.
But someone in your party wants to bring a private member's bill.
Yeah, that is a someone.
Yes.
Yeah. So it should not be that NRM has decided. No. That is what the clarification I want to make.
Professor Jane Barria, in case the private member's bill comes to Parliament, what is likely to happen in your view?
Well, I think I'm not interested in what is likely to happen. I am interested in what should we to ensure that it doesn't happen. Okay, so you change your question.
Because you are aware? Because you already know what is likely to happen.
Yes, yes. Let me put it this way: the recent history of African countries shows that with the determination, people can make a change. And I'll give you just 3 examples. There are many, but 3. The Egyptian example, a dictator using laws, using elections, and claiming popularity. Is removed by a popular revolution, although there has been a counter-revolution. But that's part of history. In Burkina Faso, the population rose against parliament. I think you all know that. And stopped a change to the constitution. And actually the president ran away. And the army was on the side of the people. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, there has been an attempt to change the constitution. They have failed.
It's a stalemate.
The only thing they could do is just extend a few months. But this is because of some level of popular organization. Therefore, I'll not answer the other question. But I think that there is enough precedent in Africa for society to be organized and to say no. And my plea to everybody who is interested in the good of this country is to organize and ensure that Parliament does not amend the Constitution in this regard. I'm not interested in whether money is going to be mobilized for people to vote, whether people should go and consult, because this is a top-down approach. I would prefer that elements of civil society, the churches, and everybody who is interested in the good of this country should make their voices heard and should oppose this proposed amendment.
What is the view for the people?
Well, he says that he's quoting examples of change. Yes, you don't have actually to go to Egypt or everywhere. The change has happened here. Throughout our history, we have seen young people go to the bush, change the government. We have seen the same group come to this country, found it at just a mere correction of 5 billion. And now we are in
but I don't think we need to tell people to go to the bush again. I'm saying, yes, we should not raise that. I think we should use better methods of change.
Yes. What I'm saying is change itself. We have seen it here in Uganda. You don't have to go anywhere. We have seen people who came here in 1986. The life expectancy was what? The poverty level was 56%.
Is that the only change in the history of this country?
How about a smooth transition of power?
Yes.
That is what yes. That is the context.
That was by war.
No, the smooth transition of power is happening every 5 years. The Constitution of Uganda, gives the powers. Article 1.
In fact, even in Egypt, it was happening every 5 years.
The power belongs to the people.
Yes.
Every 5 years, people compete for this power and they change. If you talk about our party, we have systems on how we elect our leaders. So all systems are there. And we must respect them.
I am saying...
So your wishes...
I'm just saying...
Your wishes of demonstrations actually are happening. We have seen uprising in Soroti, people supporting this cause. We have seen uprisings in everywhere.
Okay.
People are coming up.
But the point I want you to get...
Today in Mitiana, people were saying, thank you, members of parliament, for this.
That is okay. That is okay. But what I'm saying is that even in Egypt, elections were taking place. Okay? So that's not a problem. Elections can take place as a formality.
But can you talk about the freedom that we're enjoying in this country, the peace and the stability? Can you compare it with Egypt? The freedom even to come here and you talk the way you want, to express your opinion. Those countries are talking about, you will not find somebody in Egypt coming here to abuse the president the way it is.
So what point are you making? Yes. What point are you making?
I'm making that the comparison you are making
that we should not have freedom?
No, I'm saying that we have it and we should have it. So you cannot compare Uganda with Egypt.
How about Burkina Faso?
Far different.
How about Burkina Faso?
Well, I wish you well, but what I know, the demonstrations are already happening in support of this.
But
and the opposite also has been happening. You have seen also Tojikwatako. You have seen Tojikwatako. You have seen also Tuteleze. All these things are happening. This is our country. We debate it with civility. Whoever wins in terms of ideas, in terms of convincing members of parliament, will carry the day. Yes.
My brothers, I think movement is a visionary party. It's a very organized party with mass support. But I must confess that is being betrayed by some people. This is betrayal of a very organized party. For members of the party to usurp the power of the people. Because we have our party organs. Even our party organs have never been consulted. Now the power of all our party organs have been usurped by some people that without consulting the members of the party, the mass party, we should now take, this is a coup against the aspiration of the party. If this interest was generated by the power and the interest of our party members and all organs, and members of parliament are actually now enforcing the decisions of the party, it would be the best way of doing it.
No, I think, Felix, you should not mislead the public.
No, this is what I'm telling you.
No, don't mislead the public, please. The NRM party has structures.
That's what I'm saying.
And members of parliament who belong to NRM,
it is part of the structure.
Who belong to the NRM caucus, belong to the structure.
Yes, to the structure.
Don't tell people of Uganda or NRM party members. Listen, though it is important to consult them, don't tell them that any law that we pass in the parliament must be, you should sit in the district conference, you should sit in NEC, you should sit in delegates conference. Would you be legislating? Yesterday, listen.
We have
Felix,
but the reality is what you agree in the caucus. The caucus is what carries the day.
Yes, and the caucus, you know, the member is moving. He hasn't even brought the motion to the House. The caucus will sit if it is needed.
Okay, gentlemen, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll open the line so that you two at home or wherever you are, you can call and tell us what you think and make your submission on this very important subject.
Coming soon on NTV. This September, 20 DFCU investment clubs
from all over Uganda will come together to compete in the first ever DFCU Investment Clubs Challenge, the Battle for Cash.
20 incredible project ideas.
At stake, 100 million shillings cold hard cash up for grabs.
And all expenses paid trip to Nairobi, plus a whole year of advisory services.
It's an investment worth fighting for.
It's the Battle for Cash.
Battle for Cash.
Coming soon on NTV. Coming soon on NTV. Tomorrow night.
Andrade, please don't be so gullible. I'm asking about who his actual boss is. Here, nothing is what it appears, and it seems no one is who they say they are.
Listen, that chauffeur is an ex-policeman. They say he's very close to Mr. Wong. They say.
Tomorrow night.
In many places around the globe, people cross borders because of fear, oppression, and persecution. But in East Africa, we cross borders for the right reasons: business, careers and education, trade, and much more. No wonder we are one of the world's fastest growing regions, and the East African newspaper is championing the region's growth and integration. In East Africa, we know no borders to our potential. Connect to opportunity every week with the East African newspaper. The East African, understanding the region.
Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara, and my guests tonight are Honorable David Bahati, Mr. Dennis Twahika, Honorable Felix Okoto Gong, and Professor John Barria. And we're discussing a private members, not yet a bill, but a private members' attempt to introduce a motion in Parliament seeking to cause a constitutional amendment and remove the age limit on the presidency from 75 and above and below 35. Professor Jean Barria, there are those members of Parliament who, I suppose, without the president, they cannot survive. And perhaps they have their own interests, I'm thinking, of let us front him, because to him, that's where our winning formula is.
So what do they want to win?
I mean, to stay
in Parliament.
Because if he's not in the picture, can they survive? So it could be that perhaps even the man, I want to imagine, perhaps he's even innocent, but they have their own interest, and he's hemmed in by the interest of his party.
Since 1996, when we began having elections under the Constitution, the new Constitution, there have been so many members of Parliament, and they will continue to change, whether the president is President Museveni or not. Now, if they think that they may use this proposed amendment as a bargaining chip, first of all, they are wrong, as I had said, because the system is designed in a manner which does not allow many people to remain in Parliament because of the demands. the structure of the political system is such that the member of parliament has been requested to do things he should not be doing. And because he or she cannot do them, it is impossible to remain in that parliament. Okay? So they are mistaken because the people will not vote for them either because of this particular motion or the good work they are doing in parliament. People vote for members of parliament mainly because of what they can give them in terms of material resources, which is not the work of a member of parliament. So irrespective of what they do, in fact, the only thing they can achieve is maybe if they are given money.
Let me try to evolve.
So there will be no serious benefit for them in amending this part of the Constitution.
Let me try to involve Ugandans who are watching tonight from across the country. And my producer is telling me there are quite a number of people who want to make their contributions. So let me take the very first caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, ma'am. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Dylan and I'm calling from Masindi.
From Masindi.
Yeah, my question to Honorable Bahati is, as you two been advocating for the issue of the age in the Local Government Act and in the Constitution, but they've been giving us a deaf ear. How come they're coming up right now where they want to change because of President Museveni?
Okay, thank you very much. Your caller there from Masindi. Let me take another caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Benjamin. I'm calling.
I'm sorry?
My name is Benjamin. I'm calling from Gayaza.
Benjamin Gayaze on air. Can you make it precise and concise?
Yes. Hello, gentlemen. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Benjamin calling from Gayaza, and I am happy with the way we are debating online now. My comment is that we as Ugandans are not in for the removal of the age limit. Actually, we want also the term limits to be restored. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Benjamin Gayaza. I'm going to pick maybe 3 or 4 more callers, and then my panelists.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Anthony, I'm calling from Chebando.
Anthony and Chebando, you're on air, sir.
Now, talking to Mr. Bahati, Honorable Bahati, actually, when he talks about discrimination, I remember one time when Bakoza was talking about the discrimination of people who are allowed to vote, but they are not allowed to be voted for, and he talked about 75 years. And then when I pointed out the 18 years, or the 35 years, which is the lower cut, the next time I hear they are also involving them. Now my next question, people who are not educated, are they, the people who are not educated, if you have not gone to school at all, what are they going to do about them? They are also going to be allowed next time? Are they opening for them that even if you didn't go to school at all, now you are going to be involved so that we don't discriminate people? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let me take some more callers. But please share the questions to also Felix Okotogong, professor is also here.
They are satisfied.
They are satisfied.
They have nothing to ask. They know whom to ask.
They know whom to ask. Let me take another call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, ma'am. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Ruth calling from Gayaza.
Ruth in Gayaza, you're on air.
Yes.
Ruth in Gayaza, where have you gone? Okay, I think I might have to drop that line from Gayaza because Ruth now has gone silent, and pick another caller. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. My name is Michael.
Yes, Michael.
And I'm calling from Entebbe.
Go right ahead, sir.
First and foremost, I want to appreciate the work that these gentlemen are doing. And I'm so appreciative for the work of the during NRM government.
Okay.
And my question is, why are they, my question goes to Honorable Bahati, why are they acting so hurriedly? Why are they in a rush? Why are they rushing into acting into amending this article so hurriedly? Why are they acting like the wording is ending tomorrow morning? Because they have a lot to do other than why can't they carry out consultative meetings and ask the public's view and everything so that they take it slow until all Ugandans have participated into this? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me take the last caller online tonight. I have a call online. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. You're on air.
Hey.
Okay. Let me drop that one. I think you are not ready, sir. And with no fairness, I'm going to pick another caller, and somebody who is going to be spontaneous. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Charles from Kreka.
Go right ahead, Charles.
Yes. Now, can I give my view?
Yes.
Now, my view is the issue being discussed about is about the term limit, age limit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what sparked my interest in this issue? The way the so-called MP, who is currently the minister also, Anita, the way she reacted to it is totally with the disgrace.
Okay. All right. In most cases, whenever we disagree on this show, we disagree respectfully. We don't have to disagree and then we don't respect people. That's what I just wanted to add. But you made your point. But I'm also going to emphasize here because in most cases, where we are headed, it appears going to be very politically charged. But you could take them on, David.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'm very glad that all the questions actually have come to me
have a lot
because
to know
there has been substance in what we are talking about.
That's what you think. That's what you think.
Yes,
because you have been so unclear. That's why they ask you questions.
Yes.
You're not
understood. First, I want to thank members, the public who have actually inquired, because that's very, very important. You can see Ugandans are inquiring on how the process will move. The person who said, why are you in a hurry? Why don't you go and consult? It's actually not that we're in a hurry. It's the media which is probably needs to clarify that actually the process has not started. The members made consultations. A member will move a motion to the House to seek leave to develop a bill. And once the motion has been, the leave has been granted to the person, meaning permission to go and develop a bill, that bill will be developed, brought to the House, and taken to the committee. The committee will do public hearings. It can actually consult as many and as widely as possible before the Parliament finally makes a decision on this. So it is not that we are passing this law tomorrow. It is a beginning of the process if a member is given permission. He hasn't even been given permission. We even don't know for sure how many more ideas will be in the bill. What is important is that the member, yesterday but one, consulted members, suggested some ideas, and some of the ideas are the recommendation of the Supreme Court. Some of the ideas are other rigidities within the Constitution. And once it's given permission, then the consultative process will begin, including party organs, including the public and everywhere. The other person was saying, you people, if you are talking about discriminatory, why are you discriminating us as people who are not educated? We have also seen in some countries, I think there's some prime minister who was not educated in UK. Maybe, is it the time to debate that one? We'll see as we progress. But I think people are also concerned on issues to do with other rigidities, other discriminatory. So this is a spirit that people are starting now to understand that actually there are provisions in the Constitution that are discriminatory and should be addressed. And that's the reason why we send people to Parliament to reflect and legislate on any matter. Any matter, that's what the Constitution says. Another one said, you people, we have been raising this issue of local government, that the issue of stopping young people from participating in the leadership of local government has been raised. You have been keeping quiet. Why is it coming now? I think this is a time to come, and once the time has come, we should embrace this. Somebody from Cheka made a comment on what Honorable Anita said in a press statement today. I think Honorable Anita was reacting to the members of parliament. I don't know whether Felix Okoto Gongo was actually in that press conference. Were you? No?
Yeah.
Where some members with the Honorable Seleko and our other colleagues, where you suggested in that conference that actually we are going to turn the house on that day into a gym, a boxing ring. I think Honorable Anita in the context was saying, if
Did
that...
they say we are going to use the army?
No, they said you are going to turn the house into the gym. That house is
let me
that house
before,
is not.
I think
what
there's a Professor Kabwejere seems to be online.
Okay.
And I'm sure maybe you need some ammunition of sorts.
I don't know what.
Professor Kabwejere, you're online.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, you are on air.
Okay. I just wanted to. Yes, how are you?
We are fine, thank you. Go right ahead, Professor.
Yes, I am following. I have been interested in what you have been debating.
Keep talking without minding about the echo.
Yes. What I'm looking at is you are 5 people there, 4 against 1. Okay, no, okay. 4 against 1. Now, if you voted in that studio now, one will lose because the 4 of you are against 1. That would be a democratic decision because the majority have 1. Now, if you are talking about
I thought you were a moderator.
the debate you have now, there are people listening, participating. If we were to go with the voice of Professor Varia, who compares Uganda with Egypt, you would see obviously there is a difference between the history of Egypt and the history of Uganda. Now, the history of Uganda has had a player of 30 years now, 31 years. The history of Uganda can only be understood in that context. What explains the continuity of 31 years, you cannot compare that with the continuity or non-continuity of the leadership in Egypt. There is a difference, even if Burkina Faso. So let us be very, very clear. What you believe, you are free to talk, and you have said so. This freedom to talk, this freedom to debate was not here yesterday. If people want Museveni and can vote for him in a free and fair election, so be it. And if Dr. Varia wants to stand and lose, because you are saying many people stand and lose, yes, that's democracy. Democracy has shown that in Uganda, you are not a permanent member of parliament. You stand and lose like Wejere has lost. But the world didn't stop. All right? Now, parties are here. There is DP, there is UPC, and so on. But the parties have not got to the level where they can outcompete NRM. So if the NRM has the majority of supporters in Uganda, Dr. Varia, my young brother there, please accept that democracy is about numbers, whether you like it or not. If the Ugandans want NRM to continue and want Museveni to continue, let be it. If Parliament chooses to accept the motion, and it goes through with the majority that we still have, let it be, whether you like it or not, no dogs will grow horns.
Professor Kabwejere, thank you very much.
Kamara wanted to finish this point. I think the context
our time is almost out, but if you can very briefly.
The context in which I think Anita said was in reaction to what members said that they are going to turn Parliament into a few members that are going to turn the Parliament to a boxing ring. And we urge all members, let's debate this with civility. Parliament is a house for ideas, and I think she was saying if that happens, if lawmakers want to break the law, then we have other arms of government and the apparatus of the state that protects those who are law-abiding.
Okay, would you want to respond to Professor Kabwejere's?
Yes, just very briefly. Professor Kabwejere, thank you very much, but I wish I was listening to the Professor Kabwejere of UNLF and the leadership that you were able to provide at that time, and which was against the Min's dictatorship, and in the interests of the good of the people and the good of the people of this country. However, when you make the submissions that you are making now, that we are talking about democracy, number one, democracy is not procedural. It should have substance. Somebody can be declared a winner when he has not won, and we know it in this country. That is not necessarily democracy. Or you can win an election
like who?
Through crude and unacceptable methods, but you say you are the majority. So to me, the issue is not procedural democracy. The issue is how do we deal with the interest of the majority of the people in this country. And it is not possible that in any nation for 30 to 50 years, only one person is capable of leading. If that is so, then that nation is doomed.
Okay, our time is out. I'm going to begin with you, Dennis, to make your parting shot very briefly, then to come to Felix.
Thank you very much. My professor who has just talked, we are from the same district. But I think he's talking, he must have been in survival mood. He must have been in survival mood, and no wonder he comes from the same constituency with Magezi. So I will not comment much about that. Then with
what is that constituency?
I will not comment. There must be some demon maybe. So some demons which is confusing some people. So with due respect to Minister, with due respect, we are from the same area, Bushen. So I know we shall sit somewhere for of a cup of tea and I will explain. So Honorable Minister, I really want to appeal again that you really leave this constitution intact.
Okay, Honorable Felix, you're parting short, Honorable Felix.
Honorable Minister, you have heard the callers and the views on this table.
None is opposing, everybody's passing.
Yeah, indeed, on this table. And it is apparent that people are saying, why are you doing this thing in a hurry?
And we will explain.
You tried to you did not explain the process very well. What you said is actually that the decision we are taking is not from the people. You want to get this decision that you have back to the people. So what you are generating, the decision that you have generated from your statement is not from the people. That is clear. Now you want to go through Parliament and sell it to the people. Felix, that is very clear.
No, Felix.
That is very clear. You talked. You talked and let me talk. So it means the decision, the idea that is being generated is not from the people. Now you want to take it back through Parliament to the people. So you want to sell it for the people. I mean, what you are saying, the proposal that you have now, it is not from the people. You want now to take it to the people, which I think that is a wrong procedure.
Members of Parliament
because the Constitution here is very clear that everything must be to the wishes and aspiration of the people. You should not have your own idea, then you start propagating it against the spirit of the people. So I'm saying this Constitution is the supreme law. We have leaders, they have done their best, and I want to appeal to my fellow members of Parliament, and there are many. They come to me and say, Honorable Gong, you speak. Some of us, we cannot speak, but you speak. What you are saying is right. What some people are saying there is right. So let members of Parliament, let's follow the right procedure. Let us not follow an ugly process of amending the Constitution. Let us be civil in our agitation. Let us be organized in what we say, but we must leave our country united, peaceful, and prosperous. That is what we want.
Thank you. Your parting shot, Honorable David.
Well, a member of Parliament and his colleagues have challenged the executive that why are you delaying to bring these amendments? They have made proposals. We will listen to the proposals. We'll make necessary consultations, and at the end of the day, we'll do what is best for the people of Uganda, and let no one deceive anybody that this is a one man's idea that's coming from up and going down. You've seen so many Ugandans across the country actually coming up and saying, members of Parliament, you are delaying. Okay. And it's about the destiny of the country, the destiny of Africa.
Professor Varia.
I would like to appeal to the people of Uganda, to appeal to each and every member of parliament who represents them not to go ahead with this proposal. And personally, I would like to appeal to my MP, Honorable John Byabagambi, not to support this proposal. And all the reasonable MPs, many of them, by the way, my students. And at times I feel betrayed when they know the right thing and they do the wrong thing. I wouldn't want to mention them, but the people of this country are looking at the members of parliament. This time, they should do the right thing, leave the constitution intact, and instead look at things that will help develop the people of this country, deal with unemployment of young people, and all the problems that this country is facing, rather than this particular amendment.
Thank you very much, Professor John Balia. Thank you very much, Honorable Felix Kotogong. Thank you very much, Dennis Twahika, and thank you very much, Honorable David Bahati. Maybe let me conclude with these words from Mahatma Gandhi, when he said that we begin to die when we practice politics without principle, wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, and worship without sacrifice. Good night, Uganda.